Have you ever noticed that younger women aren't drawn to the men who talk the most, but to the ones who say the right thing at the right moment? It's not the compliments. It's not the gifts. And it's certainly not about pretending to be someone younger. It's about emotional precision, speaking to what truly matters beneath the surface. Younger women live in a world of noise, social media, shallow praise, empty validation. What they secretly crave is something real, something grounded. And as an older man, you carry something they're quietly searching for but rarely find: emotional intelligence, stability, and presence. But most men waste this gift. They try to impress instead of connect. They flatter instead of understand. What she really wants to hear, what she truly needs to hear, aren't just sweet words. They're words that acknowledge her spirit, her mind, her freedom, and her journey. But to speak them, you must first understand them. This isn't about manipulation. It's not about playing games. This is about becoming the kind of man who speaks with depth, who listens with humility, and who connects with quiet strength. A Stoic man. A man who knows that real influence begins with presence, not performance. So in the next few minutes, we're going to explore 5 things younger women secretly crave to hear from older men. Not because they sound nice, but because they feel true. Ready? Let's begin. Sign 1. I value your perspective. Most people listen just to reply. But a Stoic man listens to understand. And for a younger woman who's constantly underestimated, by co-workers, by family, even by other men, being truly heard is rare. That's why the words, I value your perspective, hit deeper than any compliment ever could. You see, when a younger woman speaks her mind, she's not just sharing her thoughts. She's revealing her world, her experiences, her fears, her hopes, and how she's learning to navigate life. And too often, those words are met with polite nods or dismissive smiles. But when you stop, lean in, and say, I really value how you see this, you're doing more than listening. You're honoring her voice. You're giving weight to her thoughts. And that, for her, is unforgettable. There's a story I once heard about a man named Marcus, an older man, thoughtful and quiet, who had been dating a much younger woman named Ava. One night, Ava opened up about her frustrations at work. She felt overlooked in meetings and dismissed for her age. Marcus didn't interrupt. He didn't jump in with solutions. He just looked at her and said, You're seeing this clearly. I value your perspective. That one sentence changed the conversation. Suddenly, she wasn't just venting. She felt seen, respected, and emotionally safe. The Stoics taught that true wisdom comes not from speaking, but from listening. Epictetus famously said, We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. That's not just philosophy. It's practical power. Because when you listen, you're not only gaining insight, you're building trust. And when you say that you value her insight, you invite her to show you more of who she really is. So the next time she shares something, whether it's her opinion on a book, a dream she has, or a fear she's carrying, don't just nod and move on. Look her in the eyes and tell her, That's an interesting take. I hadn't thought of it that way before. Be specific. Be sincere. And above all, be present. When you value her mind, you touch her heart. And that connection, it's what most men miss, and what makes you unforgettable. Sign 2. I admire your ambition. Ambition is a beautiful thing, until it's met with doubt. And for many younger women, their drive is often misunderstood. People say they're too intense, too much, or they question whether she even knows what she's doing. That's why the words, I admire your ambition, carry a different kind of power, especially coming from a man who's already walked parts of the path she's just beginning. Think about it. She's in the hustle. Maybe she's chasing a degree, building a business, or pouring her energy into a passion project. On the outside, she looks like she has it all together, but inside, she's second-guessing herself. She's wondering if she's good enough, smart enough, strong enough. She doesn't need you to solve that. She needs someone to recognize the fire in her and say, I see it. I admire it. There's something deeply validating when a man with life experience doesn't try to teach her how to do it better, but simply acknowledges how far she's already come. You're not positioning yourself above her. You're standing beside her. And when you say, I admire how focused you are, or you're putting in real work, it's inspiring. You're doing something most people never bother to do. You're reinforcing her belief in herself. I remember hearing about a man named Julian. He was dating a woman named Camille, who was working day and night to launch a wellness brand. One evening, exhausted and doubting everything, she opened up about feeling like a fraud. Julian didn't try to fix it. He simply said, Camille, I admire your ambition. Most people talk about dreams. You're actually building yours. Her eyes welled up, not because of the compliment, but because she finally felt seen. The Stoics believed in arete, the pursuit of excellence. And part of that is recognizing excellence in others. Seneca once wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." When you admire her courage to dare, to try, you're living that philosophy. So next time she tells you about a goal or a challenge, don't downplay it. Don't give advice unless she asks. Just pause and let her know, "I admire how relentless you are." That's rare. That one sentence can become the fuel she didn't know she needed. Sign 3. I appreciate your energy. Energy is one of those invisible gifts that often goes unnoticed until it's gone. And younger women, they bring it in abundance. Not just in how they move, but in how they see the world. They laugh louder. They feel deeper. They turn small moments into memories. But here's the tragedy. The very thing that makes her radiant is often labeled as too much. Too emotional. Too enthusiastic. Too impulsive. That's why the words, "I appreciate your energy," feel like oxygen to someone who's constantly told to tone it down. Let's be real. Most people take energy for granted. They get used to her smile, her excitement, the way she dances in the kitchen for no reason. They start expecting the light, without ever thanking the flame. But when you pause and say, "You bring life into my day," you're not just giving her a compliment. You're validating something sacred. Her essence, her joy, her spirit. There's a quiet wisdom in the man who knows how to appreciate joy without needing to possess it. I once heard a story about a man named Theo. He was in a relationship with a younger woman named Nia, who had this wild curiosity about life. She'd drag him into bookstores, museums, spontaneous road trips. At first, it overwhelmed him. But one evening, after watching her laugh uncontrollably at a silly movie, he simply said, "I love your energy. It makes everything feel more alive." That moment, she remembered it more than the vacation, more than the gifts, because it told her she was celebrated, not just tolerated. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." That's not just about gratitude. It's about presence. And when you appreciate her energy, you're honoring the now. You're practicing Stoic mindfulness, not by meditating alone on a mountaintop, but by truly being with her. So next time she bursts into laughter, or spins around just because the music moved her, don't roll your eyes. Don't quiet her down. Instead, smile. Hold her hand. And tell her, "You light up this place." Because that energy, it's not something you'll find everywhere. And when you recognize it, you not only make her feel alive, you become more alive yourself. Sign 4. I respect your independence. There's a unique kind of strength in a woman who's still figuring out her life, but insists on doing it her way. She wants to love, yes, but not at the cost of her freedom. She wants to grow, but on her own terms. And that's why the words, "I respect your independence," don't just matter, they liberate her. Younger women today are carving out their own path in a world that still questions their choices. She might want to travel solo, start her own business, change careers midstream. And while the world tells her to slow down, be realistic, or play it safe, what she really wants is someone who won't just let her fly, but will cheer her on as she does. When you say, "I respect how you take charge of your life," you're not only showing maturity, you're offering the rarest thing of all, trust. I once heard about a man named Caleb. His partner, Ivy, was 24, full of ideas, always dreaming up new adventures. One day she told him she wanted to take a month-long solo trip through South America. Most men would have panicked, questioned her, tried to talk her out of it, but Caleb simply said, "I respect your independence. Do what calls you. I trust you." That response didn't create distance, it created intimacy. She came back more in love than when she left, not because he held on, but because he let go. The Stoics understood that control is an illusion. Epictetus taught that freedom lies not in controlling others, but in mastering ourselves. When you respect her independence, you're living that wisdom. You're choosing to love her as she is, not as you want her to be. This kind of respect is rare. It's not passive. It's not indifferent. It says, "I don't need to cage you to feel secure. I admire your wings." And in a world where most men still confuse love with possession, that mindset sets you apart. So when she says she needs space to think, time to build, or room to breathe, don't take it personally. Look her in the eyes and say, "I get it. And I've got you." Because when you respect her freedom, you give her every reason to come back, not out of duty, but out of desire. Sign 5. I'm here for you no matter what. In a world that moves too fast and cares too little, consistency is rare and deeply attractive. For a younger woman navigating the chaos of becoming, few things are more powerful than hearing the words, I'm here for you, no matter what. Not when it's convenient, not when everything's perfect, but when life gets messy, when she's overwhelmed, confused, or quietly breaking down inside. Here's the truth most men miss. Women don't want someone who always knows what to say. They want someone who stays, especially when they have nothing figured out. And for a younger woman who's still building her confidence, trying to prove herself to the world, those 4 words become a kind of emotional anchor. You're not fixing her. You're not rescuing her. You're simply standing by her. That's what makes it real. There's a story I always remember about a man named Eli. His girlfriend, June, had just lost a job she loved. She was shattered, crying, doubting everything, feeling worthless. Eli didn't throw solutions at her. He didn't rush the moment. He just sat next to her, took her hand, and said, I'm here for you. No matter what, we'll figure it out. And in that silence, in that presence, she found her strength again, not because he fixed it, but because he didn't leave. Seneca once said, one of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood. In Stoic thought, loyalty is not about dramatic sacrifice. It's about being unwavering in character. To say, I'm here, and mean it is to live that principle. The world will always test her. Her career, her emotions, even her sense of self, they'll rise and fall like tides. But when she knows that you're the calm in her storm, she trusts you. Not because you promise perfection, but because you offer presence. Real, grounded presence. So when she breaks down at midnight, or doubts herself after a failure, or just needs space to cry without explanation, don't rush it. Be there, fully, and let her hear those steady, unshakable words. I've got your back. I'm not going anywhere. Because that's not just what she craves. That's what builds everything else. So what does all of this really mean? It means that connection isn't built through clever lines or constant flattery, but through presence, respect, and truth. When you say, I value your perspective, I admire your ambition, I appreciate your energy, I respect your independence, and I'm here for you no matter what, you're not just saying the right things. You're becoming the kind of man who means them. And that, more than anything, is what she'll remember. You see, most men try to impress. But the ones who make a lasting impact? They understand. They listen without interrupting. They speak with calm certainty. They stay when others would run. That's what Stoicism teaches us. To live with virtue, speak with clarity, and love with integrity. Not to chase approval, but to offer truth. So if you want to connect with a younger woman on a deeper level, don't focus on what to say. Focus on who you're becoming. Because when your words come from wisdom, your presence becomes irresistible. And if this resonated with you, comment below. Which phrase have you used or needed to hear yourself? Hit like, subscribe, and keep growing with us at the Stoic Golden Rule, where wisdom meets the modern world.